Stuart, we learnt the news yesterday that you've got a touchline ban just after you were sent off against Rangers. Just your reaction to that one?
No reaction whatsoever. It's one of those things that I kind of knew was pending and it was coming. So we've kind of got a plan in place of what that looks like. What we always try and do here is, I believe, I've managed to assemble a brilliant group of staff and people that I really trust and people that have got a similar vision and eye line in the game as to what I've got. So there's no immediate concern, there's no major overreaction or whatever. That's what it is. I kind of knew it was coming and I'll deal with it.
The club have obviously felt quite hard done by over the last couple of months with quite a few decisions that you feel have gone against you. Despite, being sent off in that game, being booked in other games, you still feel that you want to speak your mind and speak up when you feel that there has been an injustice against the club? I
won't change from that. That wasn't just an emotion after the last game that I was asked that question, and I said that. I said my piece. I always believe in being kind of true to yourself, and I hope you guys see that every time I sit in front of you. I try and give you as much honesty as I possibly can. I don't know. Sometimes people don't like a bit of honesty, but that's how my world works, and that's how it'll always work. So, irrespective of whether people like it or don't like it, I'm not sitting here pitching myself above anybody else. It's just that's how I've always dealt. I was the same as a player, same as a coach, and I've been the same as a manager for a number of years now. That's not to try and be offensive. That's not to try and pick holes in things. I just believe in justice and I believe in speaking your mind, and I always believe in accountability. I say that to players. I believe it myself for my own job. So that's kind of how I operate when I speak to you guys, and when you ask me a question I'll give you a straight answer, and if something happens outside the pitch and I see it a different way, then potentially I'm going to say it.
In terms of you being held accountable for those types of things, is the hope that that is across the board in terms of if mistakes are being made by the Scottish FA, that they hold themselves accountable, and the officials that maybe make those mistakes will be?
Yeah, I think I believe that's how Willie's spoken since day one, since he came into post. That you speak about having that accountability for errors. You get a pat in the back if you get things right, and all that different type of stuff. So that doesn't change. I think probably one of the frustrations for me comes in that people will just look at it in a sense that you've been red carded or you've been yellow carded or however that looks. I would urge a lot of people to have a look at why that happens, but that never gets turned over, because of that emotion that you get a goal chalked off, or the game's not stopped for a head knock, or you get a player sent off, which then is rescinded a matter of days later. These types of things, these types of big decisions and big incidents, you can end up with a punishment at the end of that for essentially being correct and proven correct, but at the end of it nobody turns around and says, well, we'll take that one away, we'll take that yellow card away because you were absolutely right in what you were saying. So that's just a wee bit that I look at from a personal point of view, but as I say, sometimes it's a consequence of your nature, your personality. You want to fight for, we all fight for our own cause, we all fight for our own team, contrary to what some people might say. We certainly feel as if some of the decisions that have went against us have been pretty harsh, and as I say, factually kind of proven that they were wrong. So I feel you're entitled to say your piece on that one, and especially when I start to look at 6-7 incidents over the space of the kind of same number of weeks. That's quite a significant number. So that's the type of thing that can hurt us and hamper us as a football club, and we hope that does get better over the coming games.
Was there any hope in your mind that maybe this ban wouldn't come, because, as you mentioned, you were protesting that decision that in the end turned out that you were 100% spot on?
Probably my idealistic world, yeah, because that's the justification sometimes that I make. I'm not saying that every single yellow card that I've received has been as a result of one of those incidents, I need to be clear on that, but yeah, in my idealistic world, that's kind of how I look at it, that if somebody then turns around and says, well, we should have stopped the game, or that goal should have stood, or it should have been a penalty to you, then you hope that somebody turns around at the end of it and says, right, well, we understand why you overreacted at that point given the decision, but that's never going to be the case. So I accept it. I accept the ban, and for me, I don't see it as a huge drama. I'm not making a big incident of it. It's what's there. And to be honest with you, for a number of days prior to that news kind of breaking, I suppose I've known that that's going to be the case.
You will be looking for more of the same from tomorrow from your players after the weekend?
Yeah, trying to find a level of consistency at this stage of the season's massive. It's such a big ask for all the clubs. Kilmarnock find themselves in the same position as us with the number of games that we've had. I think that it's probably one extra midweek game that we potentially could have put somewhere else. We could have filtered into the calendar somewhere else. I do, yeah, but again, I've known that this is coming for a significant period of time, so we've always been trying to brace ourselves to be as fresh as we possibly can be, and then ultimately you ask any manager, any group of players, you want to go into the next game off the back of a win. That should and it can breed confidence, so that's obviously something we're trying to play off of. But we know we're playing against a team that lost their last game at home but have been in very good form. They're very, very strong at home, so we know that it becomes a completely different game from the game just a couple of days ago.
Because of the way the league is at the moment, every team pretty much from third down is beating each other. Is it just a case of getting a few games together and you could move right up the table? Yeah,
this league's always the same. If you can try and string together, 2, 3, 4 wins, put together an unbeaten run of 5 or 6 games, I think it can really change that outlook in the league table. I feel our level of consistency has been pretty good overall, contrary to how we want to try and paint, runs of form and wins and losses and all of that. We've had a tough spell. We've had a tough spell of fixtures, certainly over that Christmas New Year period. Even looking at the kind of Celtic away, Rangers within the space of a couple of days is always going to be a difficult run. But I just feel that from our side, for the start of the season, you've kind of found us in that top half of the table. That's where we want to try and remain. We've found ourselves as high as 4th position. So there's been a lot of good aspects there. It's just trying to see if we can continue to strengthen our group, and I say that sometimes by trying to get keep some of our players fit, keep guys in amongst it. You see 1 or 2 of them starting to get back onto the pitch, which is a real bonus for me. And it's still within this next sort of 10 days, whatever and beyond, we're going to need to kind of lean towards that as well, and that gives us a wee bit of extra strength and depth. Find a level of consistency, find a way to win a game of football. For us on Sunday, it was about trying to get 3 points as much as we possibly could, and sometimes you don't quite see the quality that you've maybe had. That can be largely down to fatigue, that can largely be down to numbers of injuries and the amount of games, but find a way to win a game of football, and then sometimes wait for that brighter day, better pitch, better weather, less games, and then you feel that you can start to produce hopefully some better football along the way as well.
On strengthening the team, we see Kai Andrews was linked with you. What can you tell us about him?
No, listen, a player I really like. I'll always be respectful in this, that until something is actually done, he's not our player. Kai, someone that I really like. I've followed for a while now. Someone that's very highly regarded, really good talent. I've been fortunate enough to watch him live, which is always good. So yeah, that is something that we're working towards. But again, I'll be respectful until that's actually signed, sealed and delivered. Then I don't want to step on anybody's toes at that point. But again, it's another scenario where a young player, very young player at 18, we want to try and make ourselves and show ourselves to be a football club that gives that opportunity. I think we've done that time and again now, and there's been a lot of success in it. You look at the number of young lads, young players, little experience that have been able to come up here to Scotland with talent that I think, Mika Bireth, I just looking at the deal to Monaco, was it, I think, just recently, and Brodie Spencer, James Furlong, Georgie Gent. You start to go through this list, Marvin Cleta this season, Tawanda Maswanise. There's a number of these guys, so I'm really proud of that, and it's something I want to try and sort of show towards some of these bigger clubs in England, that we can give players platform, not only our own academy guys, but guys from further afield, and show that level of quality and that level of opportunity that these guys have had.
When you mention some of the guys that have come in before from sort of down south from these clubs, what do you need to see in them to bring them here and to give you confidence that they can go and to have sort of success here, like the players you just mentioned?
Always needs to match up to a profile. I always go back to that with recruitment, so it needs to be something I'm looking for. It can't just be someone that I think is a decent player but not going to fit into what we do. That's the starting point. They need to have a level of talent, and what they have to do is they have to show this willingness to come out and go and play just now, because sometimes you'll find the academy kids younger players that if they're at the age of 17, 18, 19, some are quite happy in the academy system, some are quite happy just to keep trundling along and doing what they're doing. What I really need is players that are stepping forward and want to have those challenges of senior football and get the challenges of Premier League and Scottish football. So that's always something that I look at, and fortunately for all these guys that I've spoke about that have been a success here, they've all kind of been jumping out their seat and wanting that opportunity. So that's worked really well. I think that the kind of process and how we work here at the football club fits to that. And what we also know sometimes with these first loans is it's as much about me and the group of players we've got here and the staff as anything else, because if I start to get upset about one mistake or one poor half of football, then these guys won't get another chance, and that's not something that upsets me. I see it as a stepping stone in the right direction for their futures and for their careers.
Is that something that could be done ahead of tomorrow, or is it going to be a bit longer than that?
No, it's got the potential of being done. It's got the potential of being done, but again, I'm not really in control of it. It's something I would like to try and do, and hopefully we maybe have some more on that over the course of the day. But as it stands just now, it's not. So again, that's where I would take a wee back step.
We saw Callum Slattery make an impact even in the last 6 or 7 minutes on Sunday, just getting on the ball and moving it about, and the movement, the passing. Do you expect them to keep kind of contributing even though you can't play him as much as you would maybe want to?
Yeah, I've said this to Callum, said it to him directly a number of times in conversation. There's nobody happier than me to see him on the pitch. I know what he can do, I know what he brings, everything you've said there about handling the ball, wanting to get in possession of the ball, try and control the game for you. We know that that's what he does. He's done it time and again for this football club, but I just have to be careful as well with him. I just need to be cautious and not trying to put him into positions where I put him at risk. But it's safe to say that having watched him over the last 3-4 weeks in training, I've kind of been getting a wee bit anxious to try and get him involved as much as I possibly can, because I know what he can do. Just unfortunate we can't get a little bit more game time in him. We've got a plan to do that over the next few weeks if we can at all possible, if the weather permits. But I think just putting him on the park at the weekend there is a major hurdle that he's overcome. That first appearance back in over a year. And then just the wee bits that he shows you there is never in doubt. So delighted to have him back in, but as I would always say to Callum, and I know what he wants is he wants to be considered as that starter. He wants to be considered as someone that can play 90 minutes, and to get to that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Does that give you a little bit of a headache now with Callum coming back in? The talent you've showed up front already this season, that must be a good problem to have.
No, it's great. This is no disrespect. I feel like a lot of the time this season I've been going back to the same well. A lot of the same players have been available. A lot of the same players have played a lot of the minutes, down to availability, down to what you actually have. So I've always been hopeful that we can try and add a couple of different components to what we've got. Callum certainly does that. You speak about that forward area. He's also one that can play slightly deeper as well in a midfield and give us a different option that way. So with the likes of him, Paul McGinn, you see Jack Vale coming on and having a good impact again at the weekend. Sam Nicholson gets some more minutes, still short in terms of where we need him to be, of course, but these guys will add plenty to us. Some of the sort of 3 of the guys that we're speaking about there in terms of their creativity. Paul McGinn is your leader, your captain, and fitting into that back line, so they're good options, but I just again need to stress that we want to try and keep them in there, so it's about trying to be methodical in what we do.
How close is Ross Callaghan?
He's back on the pitch again. Ross was back on the pitch over the last couple of days, not with the rest of the group, but making a small step. He actually had a bad illness in there as well, I would need to mention, which sort of put him back ever so slightly, but fortunately he seems to be over that. Fortunately the muscle injury seems to be a bit better, and we just need to let him go and work now with the sports scientists and the physios to try and get him back in with the group.
But sort of longer term guys, do you need to be a wee bit extra cautious with them tomorrow on AstroTurf, or is it something that
Something we've spoken about, because we generally don't train on AstroTurf. We've pretty much been on grass all season, so it is definitely something we need to take into consideration. That shock of a completely different surface and the impact that can have, and I'll always take advice from our medical people here, but there'll always be a conversation with the player as well. I think that's really important, that they're comfortable with it and how they feel and where they are. So yeah, it's something we'll speak about, but it's not always going to be the defining factor. No, I think we'll be pretty much exactly the same as what we were just a couple of days ago against Aberdeen.